Thinking that you can't do something helps no one, especially not you. Because even if it's out of your reach right now, the lessons and skills that you receive along the way make it worthwhile. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Road to Greatness. My name is Elijah Citroni, and in 15 minutes, I'm going to cover why I stopped doing split squats, my new nutrition strategy, plus the moment I nearly quit prep 6 weeks out from competition and what kept me going. So, we're going to kick off 3 components. We'll start with the training, then we'll go nutrition, and we'll finish off with mindset. I've had an adductor or a hip issue the past couple of weeks, or probably like 8 weeks now. Not a fan, I'll tell you now. Been getting a lot of pain doing split stance loading. So if you were to think I'm just standing normally, both my feet like this, anything I do where my feet are split stance, like so split squats and whatnot, I was getting this really gnarly, like stabby, jabby pain up into my right, like the inner thigh on my right side. And I believe it to be an adductor issue caused by an unstable pubic bone. So you got your two hip bones here at the back. That's where your sacroiliac joint is, or the sacrilegious joint, as one of my clients says. At the front, you got your pubic bone, and so there is this like torsion that's happening, this shearing force, and it's just not a fan. Of course, that part of that may come down to the fact that I am currently about 7% body fat. So me not having any sort of cushioning or stability in that area, no surprise that I'm feeling the way I feel or dealing with what I'm dealing with. Because there's no tissue around it to support it, to stabilize it. And so it's essentially become hypermobile. And for the longest time, I actually couldn't train my quads properly. I was throwing a lot of quantity of work. So I added about 30%, no, I added 20% to my total volume for the week. I just added an extra 3 sets to some of my main movements, like leg press and hack squats, to make sure that I was just getting enough stimulus to my quads. And thankfully, I believe I did, because they haven't shrunk and my strength still continued. But it was really annoying, and I was a bit scared of losing muscle. So I've just battled with it, tried different movements, tried doing a cable split squat where the cable's a bit higher, because that does change it from more of a vertical pattern to a horizontal force pattern, which is a little bit nicer. But it turns out that's more for like knee health rather than hips. So I've just had to stick with sagittal plane movements. So essentially, or not sagittal, but bilateral movements until post prep. What that looks like is essentially I'm only going to do things that have both feet together underneath me moving at the same time. I'm not going to worry about trying to incorporate any sort of split stance loading. As much as I love split stance loading, for the sake of hip health, right now my hips are not in a position to deal with that, and that sucks. But we're 6 weeks out, so as soon as that recovery phase is up and running, I can tell you now that split stance loading is coming back. I'm feeling like running. I haven't run Bulgarians in about 18 months. So I'm going to probably do a Bulgarian split squat. Might not come all the way down to 90, or potentially have my leg as high. It's either a Bulgarian or a king deadlift from a deficit. That could be a lot of fun. Um, Although a king deadlift is still a bitch. So we'll see how that tracks. If anyone who doesn't know what a king deadlift is, Google that, because it is nasty. Really great when it comes to quads, glutes, and just overall hip stability. So I'm feeling like I might run a king deadlift. I'm kind of talking myself into it right now. Regardless, I'm going to continue on because I could keep going for ages. Let's go to nutrition. So I was running 6 low days and 1 high day for a very, very long time. And that worked but I've moved to 2 moderate carb days instead of 1 high day. So essentially, I was having 200 carbs throughout the week. And then on 1 day a week, I was having 325 carbs. So a big boost. And that would ride me out to the end and then boop. And then it would ride me out to the end and boop. And then ride. And then it was running that sort of cycle. And that worked well. However, I got to a point where 1 week it was fucking tough. Good Lord. Even now, I'm feeling pretty buggered. I've got still another 3 days until my next refeed. So that's okay. We just keep cracking on regardless. Rocking on regardless, as one of my clients would say. But now I'm rambling. The purpose being what we're doing now is I'm running 2 high days across the week, but they're moderate carb. So I have a high day on the first day of training for the week, so to speak. So put it this way, I train 2 days on, 1 day rest, 3 days on, 1 day rest. That makes up our 7 days. So my first high day is on my first training day for the 2 days. All right, so high day followed by 2 low days. And on that next day that I train after the rest day, that's another high day. All right, followed by 1, 2, 3 low days before we restart the cycle. Reason why we've broken it up is 1, it makes the diet a bit more tolerable. And so now instead of having these long glides down, it's more of like a heartbeat. It's like beep, beep. Oh, sorry, more like a wave, a smaller wave coming through. So each day, instead of being 325, they're both 250. All right. So I get actually 200 calories on both of those days, which, to be fair, is a huge win. Huge win. It may not sound like much, it's certainly not, but just that simple reduction in the deficit, my sleep comes back a little bit. I feel a bit more energetic, and I can use that to ride me through to the next one and slowly glide my way in. Up until now, I haven't had to reduce my calories. Like, yes, sure, if anyone's picked up on it, I technically took away 100 calories when I made the adjustment to 2 moderate carb days. However, other than that, I haven't made many changes to my eating structure at all. I've chosen to take away 10 grams of fat. So new macros are 250 protein, 200 carb, and 40 grams of fat. Only for these next 6 weeks to try just to see what I'm made of. I'm curious. For all I know, it could completely blow up in my face and I'm back to 50 grams of fat. But as for now, we're cracking on. All right. And if this means running these 2 moderate carb days makes my adherence better, hell yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. Hell to the yeah. It's been really cool to navigate this prep, and I'm very much keen to continue sharing with you guys what else I get up to and what other strategies I have in place to help me get through it. I've been really leveraging going for ruck walks to make more use of my time. So essentially going for a walk with a heavy backpack and still continuing that. I've worked up to about an hour of walking twice a week with about 12 kilos, I believe, somewhere around 12 kilos worth of weight that I go for a walk with. And I'm very grateful that around here it's very hilly. So I get a lot of steps in and it's not flat. So extra calories, baby. It's going well. It's going well. So yeah, moved from 6 low days and 1 high day to 5 low days and 2 moderate carb days to simply ensure that my adherence stays intact as we get to the final stretch of this prep. Like next week's a diet break and we come back from the diet break and I'm 5 weeks out. How nuts is that? So technically, yes, this is week 7, but still, how cool is that? We are 3/4 of the way through prep. I didn't know I was going to make it this far, but I have, and I am very much grateful for it. Now, what I mentioned about almost quitting prep now that we're here, this sort of fits into a bit of a mindset shift that I had. I've never liked what I've seen in the mirror, and there were lots of feelings of shame and disgust. So, a lot of that came from stories that other people told me about how I looked, the fact that had a big ass, or that I had a gut, or had these big chunky legs. I never liked that. I never liked feeling that way about myself, and I used to always hide it. So I'd wear baggy clothes. I still wear flannels now, or tracksuit pants, but that's more from the context of comfort. Maybe that needs to be challenged. There we go. Though, moving on from that, for the sake of progress photos, I needed to shave my body, shave all my chest hair, um, the hair on my legs, hair on my arms. And what looked like in the mirror after I'd shaved blew me away. The, the shame and disgust that I used to feel was replaced with admiration, respect, and love. All right, what I saw in the mirror was what I perceived to be my better self. And in that moment, I achieved what I wanted in doing a prep. I fell in love with myself. That sounds a bit weird. I'm telling you now, it sounds weird, but I truly looked at myself and went, wow, I did that. I have such a phenomenal body, not like how it visually looks, but physically how capable I am. I I could appreciate that and admire that. And it made me question if continuing to prep was necessary. Like I'm not really fussed on placings or trophies. I care about being the best that I can be. And that's where the real question appeared. Okay. Like if I've already achieved my goal, then how far can I really go? What does my greatest potential look like? How far can I take this thing? And so even with the obstacles and challenges that prep has put in front of me, from hunger, low testosterone, poor sleep, um, an unstable pelvis, relational stress, personal stress. Now, it's taught me so much about my potential and how much more capacity that I have to apply myself in other areas of my life. Even if I chose to stop prepping, the lessons make the entire experience worthwhile. And like I've still got, 6 more weeks, 7 more weeks till show one. And I do hope to share more of the lessons that come along. And I hope you got a lot of value from this episode of Road to Greatness. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you all next week. Take care, and I shall see you then.